Hare Krishna. Welcome to our channel Droplets of Nectar. Today we will be seeing third chapter entitled Karma Yoga. Bird view of this chapter will be seen in this video. We will not be going into the depths of the shlokas. We will be just covering the entire chapter in a flowchart way. There are total 43 shlokas in this chapter. So overall flow of the whole chapter, shlokas of the chapter will be discussed in this video. First of all, let us see the Karma Yoga cycle. It is explained a summary chart on the flow of the chapter 3. The first two questions is asked by Arjuna. Arjuna is confused here. Arjuna wants to ask Krishna whether he should act or he should renounce from his action. He is confused whether he should renounce his work or he should fight in the battle. Then shloka verse number 3 to 16, Krishna explains about renunciation. Krishna explains both the point renunciation and action. So Krishna firstly explains how renunciation means Jnana Yoga is difficult. So the prescribed action with detachment, that is called as Nishkam Karma Yoga, is better for Arjuna. And through Arjuna, Krishna is also telling all of us that we should not uselessly renounce the world. We should act in this world with detached attitude. We should not be attached to the fruits of our action. One should go from Karma Kand to Karma Yoga. Then Krishna goes on to explain in verse number 17 to 35. Even if Arjuna is qualified for renunciation, he should still do Nishkam Karma Yoga to set the right example, as being the leader and the whole society will follow the leader. So instead of renouncing all the actions, one should only do their own duty detached from their fruits. And lastly, in shloka number 36 to 43, Arjuna asks, what is that formidable enemy on the path of yoga which continuously drags one person to do all kind of wrong deeds? And Krishna explains that lust is the formidable enemy. So one should conquer lust by deliberate spiritual intelligence. In detail, if we see, then first, second Arjuna's two questions, that whether to renounce or to act, Arjuna is asking to Krishna, if you think that Buddhi Yoga is better than Karma, which Krishna described in the last chapter, second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna told that Buddhi Yoga is much better. So Arjuna is confused and he is asking, why do you want me to fight? Arjuna is asking this question, why do Krishna wants Arjuna to fight? Then as we have seen, the verse number 3 to 16 is further divided into 3 to 9, then 10 to 16. 3 to 9, Nishkam Karma Yoga is better for Arjuna than Jnana Yoga. Krishna explains in verse 3 that there are two types of people, Jnana Yogis who renounce work and Karma Yogis who do prescribed work. So in verse number 4th and 5th, Krishna is condemning premature renunciation of work. He is telling that premature renunciation of work is not recommended because inaction is unnatural. Any soul cannot live without being in any kind of action. Every person has to do some kind of work. One cannot live without doing any kind of work. So Krishna in verse number 6 to 9, he is telling a pretender externally renounces the world but eternally he dwells on the sense objects. Like we see that some people are doing some kind of fasting, some kind of upvas, but in the back of the room they are eating very much thing. So such kind of pretender will not last long. Krishna is telling, better perform prescribed duties for Vishnu and avoid bondage from work. Avoid bondage from the reactions of those work. Then in the second division, Krishna from the verse 10 to 16 is explaining from Karam Kand to Karam Yoga, how a living entity can rise above from the Karam Kand process to Karam Yoga. This he very nicely explains in the 10th shloka. Krishna says, attaining happiness by the sacrifice, yajna, and cooperation between man and demigods. Krishna says in this shloka how man and demigods cooperatively live peacefully. Men can perform yajnas for the satisfaction of the demigods, and demigod can release all kind of favors for the men, like yagyat bhavati parjanya. If human beings perform yajna, then obviously the demigods will be happy and they will be showering rains. Rains will give rise to grains, and by offering grains to Lord and eating them, all the human beings will be happy. So this sacrifice and this cooperation between men and demigods will keep the whole society peaceful. Then in the 12th and 13th shloka, Krishna is saying one should eat food which is first offered as a sacrifice, otherwise he is a thief. Yajna shishta shina santo. Krishna says one is a stain. Stain means thief. If one acts or if one takes food without first offering to Krishna. Then in 14th and 16th shloka, Krishna is explaining the cycle of sacrifice. And finally Krishna says life becomes sinful without sacrifice. If one thinks that I will not do any kind of sacrifice, then his life will be nothing but a accumulation of huge amount of sin. Then in the shloka 17th to 19th, Krishna explains about Nishkam Karma Yoga. So Krishna inspires Arjuna to work to set a right kind of example. In 17th to 19th, in these three shlokas, Krishna says a self-realized soul need not work, yet he works on his obligation with detachment. Krishna gives the examples of kings like Janaka, and he gives his own example. Krishna says that even Krishna himself engages in work just to set an example for the common people to follow, because common people will only follow the great persons. Finally, in the 25th to 29th shloka, Krishna says a karma yogi works with detachment and is totally above all kind of attachment to the work. In 30th to 32nd shloka, Krishna says working for Krishna and the results of following should not be following his orders. What is the art of working for only for Krishna? Then in the 33rd and the 35th shloka, Krishna says one should do one's own duty according to his own nature for just purification instead of imitating others. Then in the last part of this chapter, Krishna finally says, Arjuna asks, what is that insatiable enemy which is entangling all the human beings to do all kind of sinful actions? So Krishna says, insatiable lust is the only thing which causes material entanglement, and it covers knowledge and influences in 3 degrees. So in the verse 41 to 43, Krishna finally concludes this chapter by saying one can conquer lust by regulating the senses and making the mind steady by deliberate spiritual intelligence. In this way, This chapter 3 Karma Yoga, ends by the very nice note on concluding our most formidable enemy, lust. Hare Krishna.